A towering man, covered in tattoos, stands inches away from a royal guard, screaming in his face. His voice echoes through the crowd. Cameras are rolling, and tension cuts the cold London air. But the soldier doesn't flinch, not yet. What happens next will leave everyone speechless. Will discipline prevail, or will fury explode? Stay with us to witness the moment that tested the very honor of a soldier. But before we start, make sure to subscribe, like, and share the video so you won't miss more incredible true stories like this one. The scene unfolds outside the grand gates of Buckingham Palace, where tourists from all over the world gather to snap photos, chat among themselves, and marvel at the iconic sight before them. It's a typical afternoon, the plaza humming with the voices of visitors, the sun casting a warm glow over the majestic palace. In the middle of it all stands a royal guard, a symbol of tradition and discipline, steadfast at his post. Dressed in his immaculate red tunic, his tall black bearskin hat perched firmly atop his head, the guard is a picture of stillness and resolve. His posture is perfect, his gaze fixed straight ahead, seemingly unaware of the thousands of curious eyes upon him. The crowd, full of tourists from different corners of the world, can't help but be drawn to the soldier. His silence is powerful, and his unyielding composure commands admiration. In the distance, people whisper to each other, exchanging words of awe about the guard's stoic presence. Some children tug at their parents' sleeves, urging them to take pictures, while adults chat about the royal traditions and the centuries-old history behind the ceremony. The energy in the plaza is one of admiration and respect for this embodiment of duty and honor. But even in the most peaceful moments, something unpredictable can happen. A loud, heavy footstep breaks through the tranquil scene, and a figure pushes through the crowd, cutting a path with his broad shoulders and imposing presence. His tattered jacket and rough demeanor stand in stark contrast to the polished, well-dressed tourists around him. The man moves confidently, with a swagger that seems to demand attention. A few heads turn as the man approaches the royal guard, his eyes scanning the soldier with a mix of amusement and challenge. The tourists instinctively recoil, sensing the shift in the air. The tension in the crowd grows as the man steps closer to the guard, his voice ringing out with a mocking tone that disrupts the quiet atmosphere. "Look at this guy," he sneers, his words dripping with disdain, standing there like a statue. The man's voice, now loud and taunting, grabs the attention of everyone nearby. He steps even closer, his insults becoming sharper, more personal. "Too scared to talk to me, huh?" His words are filled with arrogance as he circles the guard, daring him to react. He inches closer, his movements slow and deliberate, like a predator closing in on its prey. The crowd watches in a mix of discomfort and curiosity, unsure of how far the situation will escalate. But still, the royal guard doesn't budge. He stands tall, unmoving, as if the man's presence is of no consequence. His silence only seems to fuel the thug's anger, and with every passing second, the taunts grow louder, more cutting. The crowd holds its breath, hoping that the guard will speak, move, or defend himself, but he remains a pillar of discipline. As the man continues to press, the tension in the plaza thickens. People exchange nervous glances, some even taking out their phones to record what they assume will be an altercation. But the royal guard's composure remains unbroken. His stillness is a defiance, a demonstration of strength in the face of aggression. Little do they know, this calm facade is about to be shattered in a way that no one could have predicted. The situation takes a sharp turn as the thug inches closer to the royal guard. His face twists with a cruel smirk, clearly enjoying the discomfort he's causing. The once peaceful atmosphere around the guard is now charged with tension. The crowd, once filled with admiration, now watches anxiously, unsure of what will happen next. Whispers ripple through the crowd, some encouraging the guard to stand his ground, others muttering nervously, uncertain of how far the situation will go. "Hey, soldier!" The man's voice rises, his tone mocking and loud enough for everyone to hear. "You gonna stand there all day? You think you're better than us?" He steps even closer, his breath hot against the guard's ear. The disrespect is palpable, and the tourists instinctively pull back, feeling the weight of the encounter. The guard remains motionless, his eyes locked ahead, his posture unwavering. His stoic expression is the only thing visible as the thug circles him, almost as though he's a piece of prey. The man's taunts continue, each word laced with sarcasm and venom. "What's your deal, huh? You too scared to speak? Or are you just too stupid to move? What's the matter? Your commander too busy to give you a real job?" With each insult, he edges closer, his tone growing more aggressive. The crowd shifts uncomfortably, some reaching for their phones, sensing that this is no longer a simple encounter. It feels like this situation could spiral out of control at any moment. A few tourists glance nervously at one another, some even stepping back from the confrontation. A couple of people murmur, trying to call the man to stop. But he's too far gone in his quest for confrontation. The man looks down at the guard with a sneer, his eyes scanning for any sign of weakness. It's as though he's daring the soldier to react, pushing harder with every step. The Royal Guard doesn't flinch. His face is unreadable, a mask of perfect composure. He's trained for moments like this. His silence is not a weakness, but a powerful display of discipline. But even in his stillness, the thug's words cut through the air like daggers. "What's wrong, boy? You don't have the guts to do anything, or maybe you're too scared to mess with someone who isn't royalty." The crowd is on edge now, some starting to cheer the guard on, while others anxiously look to see how the guard will respond. The tension between the two men grows thick. Every insult from the thug seems to bounce off the guard, his unshaken demeanor only intensifying the thug's anger. The tourists are now split in their focus, half watching the guard's every move, while the other half is fixated on the thug, wondering if he'll make a physical move. Some even whisper about calling security, unsure of the situation's volatility. Yet, the Royal Guard remains unmoved, a silent, unyielding presence amidst the rising storm of insults. With every moment that passes, the situation grows more intense, the crowd's murmurs and shuffling adding to the feeling of impending conflict. But still, the guard stands there, unshaken by the thug's provocations, his unwavering silence saying more than any words ever could. As the thug's insults grow more hostile and his proximity becomes threatening, Harrison's composure remains unshaken. His training as a Royal Guard has prepared him for moments like this where tension rises, and the urge to react is intense. But he stands there, unmoving, his eyes focused ahead, a picture of unyielding discipline. The crowd around them is buzzing, some muttering under their breath, others exchanging nervous glances. They are all watching the showdown unfold before them, waiting to see how Harrison will respond. Would he finally snap? Would he break the silence? The thug certainly seems to be expecting a reaction, his taunts growing louder, more personal. But Harrison, he does not flinch, not once. In the midst of the escalating insults, a fleeting thought crosses Harrison's mind. This is a test of his patience, a test of his resolve. Every insult, every jeer, every step closer the thug takes is a challenge. But Harrison understands that his role as a Royal Guard is not to succumb to provocation. His duty is to represent strength through discipline, to maintain order, and to protect the dignity of his position. He knows that reacting to the thug's taunts would only play into the man's hands, showing weakness in a moment where none is allowed. Harrison's silence is powerful. It is not out of fear or passivity. It is an active choice, a conscious decision to remain above the petty insults. The thug's voice grows more desperate, but Harrison's gaze never wavers. His stillness becomes a statement in itself, one that tells the thug and the crowd that he will not be moved by baseless aggression. The Royal Guard's patience speaks volumes. His ability to endure the provocation without retaliating is a testament to his inner strength. While the crowd may be on the edge of their seats, waiting for something to break, Harrison stands resolute, unwavering. He doesn't need to prove his strength with words or violence. His actions, or rather his lack of them, make a far stronger statement. Even though the thug inches closer, taunting him, trying to provoke some sort of reaction, Harrison remains stoic. His expression shows nothing, no anger, no fear, no doubt, just calm. And in that calm, there is power. It is the power of restraint, of knowing that true strength doesn't need to prove itself through force. The Royal Guard's patience is a force in itself, one that the thug cannot comprehend, and one that the crowd cannot ignore. As the thug's insults become louder and more desperate, Harrison's inner resolve only grows stronger. He knows that his response, or lack thereof, will define the outcome of this encounter. The more the thug pushes, the more he reveals his own desperation. Harrison's patience becomes a quiet demonstration of control, of being above the need for validation or confrontation. He doesn't have to react. His silence speaks louder than any words could. The tension in the air has reached its breaking point. The thug, relentless in his insults, finally steps too close. He is now inches away from Harrison, his face twisted in a mixture of anger and derision. He raises his hand, ready to shove or strike. The crowd holds its breath, anticipating the inevitable clash. They've waited for this moment, and now it seems like the Royal Guard can no longer hold back. But Harrison remains as still as ever. He does not flinch, does not show a sign of fear or aggression. His posture is firm, his hands relaxed at his sides. The thug, in his rage, does not see the calculated restraint behind Harrison's calm exterior. He thinks he has finally broken him, that the guard will finally react. But Harrison knows that the moment he gives in to the thug's provocation, he loses everything he stands for. He will be just another person letting anger control him. The thug, however, is not prepared for what happens next. With a sudden and brutal shove, he tries to push Harrison back, intending to provoke a violent response. But Harrison's response is swift and decisive. With a fluid motion, Harrison grabs the thug's arm before it reaches him. In one clean movement, he uses the thug's own momentum to spin him around and firmly hold him in a controlled wrist lock. The thug stumbles, taken completely off guard, as Harrison's strength and precision become evident. The crowd gasps in surprise. This moment is a turning point. For all the thug's insults and attempts to provoke violence, it is Harrison who is in control. The crowd, who had expected Harrison to snap, now watches in stunned silence as the thug is rendered powerless, unable to break free from Harrison's unyielding grip. Harrison's eyes lock with the thug's, and in that brief moment, there is a silent message. It is not Harrison's fists that have won. It is his discipline, his understanding of the situation, and his control. The thug struggles, but Harrison does not let him go. He doesn't need to escalate the situation with force. He has already proven his strength through his actions. His patience and control are the true weapons. The thug, now desperate and humiliated, tries to lash out, but Harrison remains calm, holding him firmly, without any unnecessary aggression. There is no need for a fight to break out. Harrison has already won. He has maintained his composure, shown that he is not a man to be pushed into a corner. And in doing so, he has sent a clear message to everyone watching. True strength is not in physical force alone, but in control, in knowing when to act and when to remain still. The thug's resistance begins to wane as he realizes that he cannot win this battle. His anger is met with unshakable calm. He finally slumps, defeated, realizing that Harrison's strength was never about violence, it was about mastery of self. After the thug has been subdued, Harrison's movements are precise and deliberate. He doesn't need to escalate the situation further. With the thug now at his mercy, Harrison gently releases his wrist lock, but his stance remains firm and controlled. The thug, now completely defeated, stumbles slightly, still trying to gather his bearings. He looks at Harrison, his expression a mix of frustration and confusion, but also something else: respect. Harrison steps back, giving the thug space. He doesn't taunt or mock him. His goal was never to humiliate the man, but to maintain order and control. Harrison doesn't need to say a word to communicate his message. His actions have already spoken louder than any words could. The thug stands there for a moment, unsure of what to do, his previous bravado gone. The crowd, who had been anxiously waiting for the confrontation to turn violent, now watches in stunned silence. They had expected a physical altercation, but what they witnessed was something much more powerful. A man who remained calm, who acted with restraint, and who controlled the situation without the need for violence. With the thug now subdued, Harrison takes a deep breath, his posture still impeccable, his demeanor unshaken. He turns and begins to walk away, his presence commanding the attention of everyone around him. He doesn't look back at the thug, who is left standing in the middle of the crowd, a shadow of his former self. The message is clear. Harrison is in control. Harrison doesn't need to prove anything further. His action, his ability to maintain control and act decisively, has already shown what kind of man he is. As Harrison walks away, there is no sense of triumph or victory in his movements. He is not boasting or celebrating. He is simply doing what he has been trained to do, maintaining order, standing his ground, and remaining true to his values. The crowd, now silent and reflective, begins to disperse. They may not fully understand the weight of what they just witnessed, but they know one thing for certain. Harrison is a man who is not easily shaken, a man who understands that strength does not lie in violence, but in the ability to control oneself, to act with discipline and honor. The thug, on the other hand, slowly retreats, his confidence shattered. His earlier aggression has been met with a level of control and calmness that he couldn't comprehend. He will likely think twice before confronting someone like Harrison again. The lesson has been taught, not through force, but through action, through unwavering discipline. Harrison's actions have spoken volumes, and as he disappears into the distance, there is a sense of quiet respect from the crowd. They may not all fully grasp the significance of what has just happened, but they can all recognize one thing. Harrison has shown them the true meaning of strength. The scene begins to calm down. The thug, once aggressive and arrogant, now stands quietly, his shoulders slumped. He's realized the futility of his actions. Harrison's calm, controlled approach has not only subdued him physically, but has also broken his spirit. There is no need for further confrontation. The thug has been taught a lesson, not through violence, but through restraint and strength of character. As Harrison walks away, the crowd, who had anxiously anticipated a violent clash, now witnesses something far more profound. They see the true power of discipline, composure, and self-control. Harrison has proven that true strength doesn't lie in physical force, but in the ability to stay calm in the face of provocation and keep one's principles intact. The thug, now subdued, turns and walks away, his confidence shattered. He knows he has been bested, not by brute strength, but by the strength of Harrison's discipline. The crowd, still in awe of the Royal Guard's composure, begins to disperse, their respect for him evident in their quiet murmurs. Harrison's actions speak louder than any words could. His calmness, his control, and his sense of honor have left a lasting impression on everyone around him. True strength, as they've just witnessed, is far more than physical power. It's the mastery of oneself. The real message of this story lies in the power of self-control and restraint. Harrison, despite the thug's aggressive provocation, remains composed and unwavering. It's not the physical strength that defines him, but his ability to handle tension without giving in to aggression. His calmness in the face of danger and his refusal to escalate the situation speak volumes about his strength of character. The thug may have been defeated physically, but Harrison's true victory is in maintaining his principles and dignity. This lesson extends beyond physical confrontations. It shows that the most powerful form of strength comes from within. In a world that often values brute force and aggression, Harrison's composure stands out as a reminder that true power is in the ability to remain calm under pressure, to think before reacting, and to choose the higher road. Harrison's actions remind us that we all have the ability to choose how we respond to challenges. Strength isn't always about overpowering others, it's about mastering oneself. If you find this story amazing, please leave a like, subscribe, share. Let's spread the message of true strength and self-discipline.